The next report that I have for you today is on Lincoln County schools. And I just kind of briefly go over the history here. In 2000, actually June of 2000, West Virginia Board of Education intervened into the operation of Lincoln County schools due to various non-compliances with state code, state Board of Education policy. In 2009, this Board of Education entered into a memorandum of understanding that stipulated the returning of full authority to Lincoln County. And then in December 2010, the board gave Lincoln County Board of Education permission to do make personnel decisions without submitting them to the state for approval. And the progress was moving forward with the MOU. And in the spring of 2011, the OEPA was directed to return back to Lincoln County to do a partial audit based on personnel and hiring practices. And there was some information received to indicate they had regressed in that area. OEPA presented with a report in June 2011, and the board moved back to continue their provisional control of Lincoln County. And then this past June, OEPA was directed to return to Lincoln County to see where they were with their personnel. And we reported back to the board in July of 2012 that they had made great progress in that area and that the problems had been corrected. At that board meeting in July of 2012, you also directed the OEPA to go back and do an audit of the county to ascertain the degree of compliance set forth in policy 2320 and to make recommendations to you, the board, regarding the status of Lincoln County schools. And we went in to do that audit this past October 23rd through the 25th. We looked at the areas of achievement, curriculum, finances, facilities, personnel, and leadership. That is attachment B of on your agenda. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. I'm just going to go through some key things from that audit. And first, in regard to achievement, chart 1 on page 6 and 7 of your document there, it shows that there's 16 subgroups in which Lincoln County did not make adequate yearly progress on the May 2012 LESS test. And of those 16 groups, Lincoln County did see increases in 6 subgroups and decreases in 10 subgroups from the previous year's WESS test administration. And in charts 3 through 8, you see that data there that looks at Lincoln County and their comparison to the state proficiency, and they were below the state in 9 of the 11 areas of accountability in math and 9 of the 11 areas of accountability in reading language arts. Chart 12, which is on page 14, indicates that Lincoln County School has not made the 80% state minimum graduation requirement for the past 5 years. Graduation rate has declined somewhat there. Chart 13 and 13A, when you look at those two charts together, they indicate that 106 students are enrolled in 5 AP classes and 275 students are enrolled in 11 honors classes. This represents a 3-year increase in both the number of advanced placement classes offered at the school and the number of students enrolled in those classes. Looking at curriculum, there's been a great deal of work done in this county through the leadership of the superintendent and the central office in regard to providing quality staff development to improve teaching in the classroom and improve student achievement. This county, as you heard mentioned earlier, they procured a waiver from the West Virginia Board of Education that allows them to have PLC times once every week to meet with their staff. This has allowed them valuable time to do data analysis of their schools and to formulate plans for meeting the individual needs of their schools, the students in their schools. This county has employed 2 math instructional support personnel at Hart's Pre-K 8 school. This school had some substantial decreases in student math performance from 2010-11 to 2011-12. They have extended their collaboration with RESA 2 to provide technical assistance to Hart's Pre-K 8. But not only there, RESA 2 has provided a lot of valuable services to this county in the areas of improving instruction and helping them to improve student achievement. They have 2 schools that have school improvement grants in the county, Hamlin and Guy Valley. The county is utilizing leadership-focused training programs to target improvement in instructional strategies in all schools. And the school has advanced the use of the instructional practices inventory to all schools. That is where they gauge the engagement of students in the learning process. In regard to finances, as we look at each of those areas I mentioned earlier, the 5 areas, the financial audit for the Lincoln County Board of Education for fiscal year ending June 30, 2011 contains no material weaknesses, and there were no deficiencies regarding internal controls, and there were no non-compliances. The district reported a positive balance on their financial statements for this immediate past fiscal year of 2012. They reported a carryover balance of $1.3 million, and the county's 2013 budget, which is the current year we're in, required a carryover budget, carryover amount of $1.4 million. This board was advised by their treasurer, who guided them through the process, and we watched this when we were here in the spring of the year. Advised them about their tight financial conditions. She advised them about the personnel within the county, where they were with that in relation to the state funding formula. And she also kept them apprised of the fact that there were cost overruns on one of their construction projects at Harts Pre-K 8. The board took action. They realized they were in the situation they were in, and they made adjustments within their county to avoid deficit spending, and they're commended for that. In regards to facilities in this county, the OEPA team observed that they're operating schools more effectively, more efficiently, and you can see the beautiful facility that we're here. They were in here at Lincoln County High School, and they also have another new school at Harts Pre-K 8. The team noted that the remaining facilities have received much needed updates and maintenance. There are still some situations where portable classrooms are still being used in the school beyond their life expectancy, and there's some issues with the facilities that have inadequate heating and cooling systems. And we noted some issues about some maintenance on the mechanical equipment. To respond to that, the county is now participating in the statewide preventive maintenance program, which is sponsored by the State Board of Education of the West Virginia School Building Authority. Lincoln County, in regard to facilities, they've identified their needs in their 10-year facility plan, their CEFP plan, and many of those facility issues will be resolved with the passage of a $24 million improvement bond that they have scheduled to go before the voters on February the 23rd, 2013. With the passage of that bond, the county anticipates receiving additional funding from the School Building Authority to facilitate additional school construction and to address the facility needs. In regard to personnel in the county, there were 3 commendations to the county. The county has had no certification, non-compliances. They were commended for providing the training for their central office people, their school administrators, data management, data reporting, data tracking their personnel, which leads to a lot of findings when we go into school districts in regard to people not being certified and that type of thing. They've done a lot of training to see that that's corrected. And they've also worked diligently to employ fully certified personnel for all professional positions. In regard to leadership, this is a major thing, and we noted this when we talked about intervention counties. Leadership is a key factor. What we noticed in Lincoln County, and when we returned in the fall this year, and also when we were there in June, that the board meetings are conducted according to the statutory regulations and provisions. They're working well together as a board. They told us that they feel like they're having a cooperative relationship, and they communicate and collaborate effectively. They spoke positively about, the board did, about their working relationship with the superintendent, and they support the superintendent. The board, they expressed that they, quote, proved that they could do the job, unquote, as a decision-making body, and asserted that the board members are determined to continue in that path. The members assured the team that political elements would not be permitted to influence personnel decisions. It was stated that we realized that the state can take over again and we don't want that to happen. The board members expressed a common goal of improving the county and shared the common focus of improving student performance. They were even specific as to things that they wanted to see improved in this county. They want to see their vocational programs expanded. They want to improve on their honors classes, and they want to improve the graduation rate of their students. The board members were very much aware of the specific needs of their county when we interviewed them. They spoke about the employing certified teachers, specifically in the areas of math and science. And the reason I'm telling you this is because it is important for a Board of Education to have a good working knowledge of their county and what's going on. They understand the problems. They understand the needs. They were concerned about the low achievement at Hart's Pre-K-8 school. They actually were formulating in their minds the reasons why there was a large turnover of staff in that school. That's a very good reason that could affect student performance. They brought out the fact that there was a lack of continuity in the administrative staff at Lincoln County High School. They had 3 principals in 2 years, and we had 2 assistant principals last year and 2 new assistant principals this year. So they're very much aware of the issues that are taking place in their county. Also, they were very quick to tell us about the good, positive things that are going on, and you've heard several of those mentioned here, and I won't go over and enumerate those again, but they are proud of the fact that they are staying within their boundaries financially. West Hamlin is a school of excellence, and what they've done with their facilities. They're just very pleased with what's going on in the county. So in concluding about Lincoln County, I would say that we see a positive climate here to improve the state, the local board, the superintendent working together to make sure the climate is positive, and we are focusing on school improvement across all the schools in their county. So it is with that OEPA feels confident in making the recommendation that based upon the results of the education performance audits, it is recommended and motion is requested that the Lincoln County Board of Education be released from provisional oversight and the county be issued full approval status. We have with us today, of course, the superintendent, Trish Lucas, and the board president, Mr. Priestley, and other members of the board. Are there any questions about it?
Okay. First of all, being the longest serving member of the state board, I happened to be here at the very beginning when there was a big meeting held and there was a vote, and I know Senator Jackson was there also. And equally so, I was here at the opening of this beautiful, beautiful school that you have. And looking at this report, I can see that you've tried everything that there is to do to make things better for this county. I really applaud you for that, doing that. My hats are off to all of you. It's a big day for Lincoln County. However, there is one question, and maybe Mrs. Lucas can answer this. When you were talking about the curriculum teams and the assignments for elementary and a secondary person in the curriculum teams, I took out this quote: "Without leadership, student achievement cannot be a focus for the county." Now, are there plans to rectify that?
I want to say absolutely. We have things in place to make sure that that occurs.
Okay, good, because I saw that that was one thing that needed to be done. And then I have a question of our student board member, if I may. Would you stand, and maybe if you come to the podium too? He is, Mr. Massey is from Preston County, also a takeover county. And so, although they haven't been in this process as long as Lincoln County certainly has, I wanted to ask him, what of these elements that were considered in returning this back to Lincoln County do you think are very important? And then if you could also say what it's been like as being a student in a takeover county.
Let me first begin by thanking President Langer, and is it Henline or Heinlein? Okay, Superintendent Heinlein and board members for allowing me to be here this morning. But I think it's important, and as I look around here at this high school, to have the facilities that are needed to educate our students. And this is a beautiful facility. I mean, I'm envious because our school is nothing like this at Preston High. Nothing against my high school. I love it, but it's beautiful. And I think that's the environment plays a major role in that. And also having the qualified leadership, teachers, principals, administration, and board members. And I think that's a big thing, accountability. And our teachers and our administration, they need to have some understanding of what it's like for Preston County students, because, you know, down here in Lincoln County, we're closer to Charleston. You know, Charleston's a bigger area, but Preston County, we're out in the booty bashes, so to speak. So, and they need to understand the standard of living and things. So, thank you again for allowing me to be here today, and I enjoyed it. I look forward to serving as a student representative through February. Thank you.
That's it.
President Langer, members of the board, from the perspective of the department, I'd like to certainly congratulate Superintendent Lucas. I'd also like to thank Brenda Powell, the secretary, who worked diligently in submitting all those agendas and personnel items to the department on time for their review. And your cooperation has been amazing. And for your board members accepting the responsibility for bringing Lincoln County to the position that the state board can consider returning full control, I congratulate you. You have done a great deal of work. I would like to remind the Lincoln County Board and the superintendent in my job also making sure that this board is supported and protected, that the work that you've done can't stop. As you said as Dr. Pennick said in the report, your goals and your integrity are going to be consistently reviewed in terms of, are you able to keep up the progress? Particularly, code gives the Board of Education the opportunity to intervene within 5 years if any of the conditions exist that would re-exist that were prevalent due to the original intervention. So I know that's not an issue, but I felt it was important to mention that to support and protect this board. Congratulations, Trish. Congratulations. I'm very happy.
Just one comment, Mr. Chairman. I think everything's important. I'm excited about the fact that we can sit here and discuss this, but I'm also very, very concerned about the leadership quotient that we're talking about here. You said, yeah, we put things in place, but that doesn't tell me a lot. So, as Mr. Heinlein has said, I don't want to be here again in 5 years having this discussion about taking this county over again. So, the only angst that I may have at voting positive on this is I'm not clear about what that leadership, what we're doing to improve leadership in the county. If you can.
Well, one of the things that we have in place at each of our schools is a leadership team. And our principals work very closely with their leadership team in order to identify all of the needs and everything that the students require in order to ensure student growth, student progress. Also, we make sure that we are informing our board, our curriculum team. If there are issues, they are always available to be at board meetings to answer any questions that they may have about what direction we're taking. Anything that comes across my desk, I try to make sure that they are very informed with what's going on. Want to be very transparent at all times for anyone. And that is just something that I believe in. It doesn't matter if in 5 years they can come back. We don't want them back. Not that we don't love them, but we want to be able to stand on our own and continue to make progress and just do everything that we can for the students of Lincoln County.
And we don't want to come back here, because we're not very efficient sometimes when we take over county. And as Mrs. Phillips always asks, when I ask this question, I'm surprised you didn't ask me before. Do you have student members on your leadership teams?
At high school, I'm not quite sure at the middle school, elementary, if they do or not.
Because I think that's something that if you don't, you might want to consider, because students can tell you what they need.
Yes, they can.
Sometimes they don't want to hear it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Jackson.
Mr. President, it gives me great pleasure to, based upon the results of the Education Reform and Audit, to make the motion that the Lincoln County Board of Education be released from provisional oversight, the county be issued full approval status, and if I receive a second, I'd like to speak to that motion.
May I second that motion?
Yes.
Mr. President, it's been a long journey for Lincoln County. I can tell the board, though, that every time you meet, you have proof before you that Lincoln County can turn out great products here. And that's the person of Virginia Harris, our secretary, who's a 75 graduate of my alma mater, Hammond High School, and a student of my mother who taught here at that time. That's probably the only proof you have before you. But it has been a long journey. I can tell you in the year 2000, I was chair of the Senate Education Committee, and as a courtesy, Bill Luff, who many of you all knew, who worked here before, called me and said, "Boyd, I want you to know that you need to have every reason to expect there'll be a motion made to take over the Lincoln County school system." And I said, "Well, Bill, that's fine, but you need to tell me why. I need to know why." And he went through a lot of things that Gus talked about, the other side of those very issues. And I said, "Now, Bill, tell me really why you're doing this." And he said, "Boyd, I hate to tell you, there's a lot of people out there that don't know who they work for." And I can tell you, politics is a full contact sport here in Lincoln County. Don't ever doubt that. But the problem is when you combine politics with declining enrollments, with shrinking budgets, with deteriorating facilities, and a need to address those issues, it became harder than I think the county could do. The one sure way in Lincoln County to win elections for the last 2 decades has been to oppose closing or consolidating any schools. If you wanted to win an election, that was the way to do it. And there's a lot of us with a lot of stripes to show that that's what it was. But it meant that in a lot of cases that the board simply couldn't react to a lot of things they needed to react to, and they know that. And so it caused all kinds of other problems, budgetary, personnel, and everything else. I'm proud to say that over the years, both, I think, time and the maturization of politics in this county has taken us away from that. And I have to tell you today that the 3 board members who are here today, I know personally every one of them. 2 of them are former educators, 1 a former employee of this department. And the other is a longtime member of the school board who has a great passion for the kids in the county. I know all 3 of these people. Mr. White, to answer your question about the leadership, the superintendent is critically important, and Trish does a great job, but I can tell you, the 3 people sitting in that front row are the people who make a difference in this county. If this county is going to have a difference, they're elected by the people to do that. And I can tell you that the 3 of them are committed to do that. I know them, I've known them all my life. Unfortunately, they've known me all their lives. And they're good people, and they will do a good job leading this board. I have no doubt about that. It doesn't mean, and I'll also say about Trish that we've worked together some, and she's honest and open and above board about everything. She knows what has to be done here in this county. Now, it doesn't mean that people won't make mistakes. Boards of education sometimes do. It won't mean they won't get some bad publicity. Boards of education sometimes do that. But I can tell you about them that they won't do it intentionally. I know there's 3 people. And if they do, they will correct those things as quickly as they can and make those happen, and that they won't be based upon political considerations. They will do what's best in the interest of the kids. I do believe that about these people. Yes, they still have a ways to go, you can see from the numbers. But the fact of the matter is, it's not this board's job to correct every ill in every county in the state. I think it's our job to be sure that the counties have the leadership, the ability that is both willing and able to do that. I'm not sure that everyone here in this county was always both willing and able to do that. I can say today, I really think they are. And I think we're doing the right thing to turn this county back over. It gives me great pride to make that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Okay, let's take a break for lunch.